Oh, hello. Welcome to another episode of Freewheeling Fridays. Hi, Bhargavi. Hey, Vinod.
Hi Karthik, hi Vinod. Karthik,
Alright.
light is not on.
It is on.
Okay. Extra turning. Good.
Okay, I think I'm having some trouble with my internet connection, so I may come in, go out, and stuff like that.
Okay, so
So bear with me.
do I have better lighting today?
Yeah, you're glowing, man.
Okay.
As always.
Yeah, I think this week has been a week where we could glow a lot less. I feel. Yeah.
I don't
Sure.
understand such convoluted statements as usual.
Okay. So we should invite everybody who joined us. Welcome to another session of Freewheeling Fridays. Karthik says his internet is bad. Usually I am the one who complain, or Bhargavi says, device only is off. Bhargavi has a hardware problem, I sometimes have a software lighting problem. Today, Karthik has a problem. So Karthik, what's going to happen today, man? I'm like, we've not done this for a last week. I know there's some news. I think we broke that last week already. I'm assuming, right, in one of our freewheeling the week.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
And
So we
what what
announced
what
our previous investment.
what's today, man? What's today?
Actually, you know what? That's interesting. We don't have anything on the agenda for today. Um so this is going to be truly freewheeling. Okay, I think most of our sessions have been freewheeling, so this is also going to be freewheeling. I can start off with one topic that really sort of I think it's been coming across in the VC circles lately. It's basically the deals that seem to be a little bit drying up for micro VCs and syndicates. Is that something that you subscribe to?
I think you should pull that article up. Yeah, let's do that. I think maybe that's an interesting topic to actually talk. Investors race to win early startup deals in India.
Hmm.
So
I will put the article up, but yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I'm sending you also, Karthik. Yeah. So look, I think from the trenches, right? This was already known to us. I think we should. I think I'm just being honest here.
Yeah.
Um, uh, uh, is it like a new phenomenon? Not necessary, but what is happening is that let's say a couple of years ago, right? This was there, but it was not as prominent in the sense. Not every VC in the early stage game, wanted to invest early. Now it's come to a point, right? Like every VC, right? Literally, whatever stage they are, especially early stage. When I say early stage, I think people should understand the Series A VCs, right? Are coming into and wanting to invest at pre-seed, seed, and grab a pie, create some kind of an optionality. Does it make competition difficult for us? Good question to ask. If you are chasing the same deals as them, yes, that makes it difficult. But I think that also presents an opportunity, like for micro VC firms like ours, to not exactly chase those kind of opportunities. Think a little more contrarian and a lot more conviction driven than being driven by fear of missing out on these companies, in some sense, right? So I think basically that means, right, we'll have to work harder and work smarter and figure out other ways of getting into companies even before the larger companies come in. But that's an interesting argument for that also, Karthik, right? Look, 5 years ago, we didn't have as many quality startups today that we have, right? So today, I think, just correlating with this other news article which talked about, 10,000 startups being recognized by DIPP, which indicates that, there is crazy amount of momentum on people wanting to start up in the pandemic, which also shows, look, then you need more capital. You need more capital. That means more entrepreneurs, more capital. So that means it presents itself an opportunity. Unless you're saying the universe is shrinking and then everybody is competing, then we should be worried about this article in a big way, right? I think the world is wider. Like example, I'll tell you, right? Reach out is going to change very dramatically in the next 2 years. Here's my thought, right? If startups went vernacular 3-4 years ago with the likes of ShareChat and Vernacular or others, right? I'll tell you, VCs will go vernacular in the next 2 years. I'm already seeing signs of that. That's like headline, if you wish, right? I just saw, IQ wanting to do a fundraising 101 in Hindi, and I was part of a Clubhouse conversation a couple of days ago where I spoke in my tongue. So no more, right? The VC is going to be restricted to somebody who understands Shashi Tharoor's English alone, right? Or communicates with that, right? I think it's going to expand, and that I think presents an opportunity again. If I know the language, maybe I can do that. Or if I have a connection, like alumni connections was one wave, right? I think this is a vernacular VC wave. I think whoever is ready, right, get ready to do that, Karthik. So here we have, South India's 3 states in some form or the other. So we should be actually, capitalizing on that, by going deeper, going, down and, tier 1, tier 2. Look, what's the difference between sitting in Bangalore and Tirupur or Vijayawada or, Guntur, anywhere, right? How do I know where you are sitting, Karthik? So I think if that is broken fundamentally, right? So it doesn't matter any longer, right, where you are. So if that happens, right, then you can fund companies. Yeah.
I think it's very easy to sit anywhere in India, right? Like in the top 10 metros, and forget that India is like so diverse. It's, and as the economy grows, right? Each of these states, they can resemble, sizable opportunities individually, right? Just as California is a $5 trillion economy, which could be the 5th largest economy in the world, right?
Yeah.
Similarly, some of Indian states could be large enough to sustain their own ecosystems.
Of course.
I think we're already seeing a little bit of that happening already. I just recently noticed that there's an only Telugu OTT, right? It's a completely it's an OTT platform dedicated only to Telugu language and original productions, and then movies, and then so on and so forth, right? Which kind of struck me. It's like it kind of made me realize that, wait a second, we are not seeing something that entrepreneurs are actually seeing in the market, right? I mean, this is a rather interesting development. I'm sure there are similar things happening in Tamil Nadu and other.
Yeah, already
areas.
Sun had their own OTT since many years, and after COVID, I know many movies released exclusively only on that OTT.
Yeah. So I think the wave is changing. We have to just figure out what's next and try and catch it. That's all right. So and
another wave changing which we have been seeing is reverse pitching happening. What do you think about that, Karthik?
That's an interesting topic.
That is another wave which is changing. So much of reverse pitching happening these days.
Yeah, Karthik, as you jump to that, right? I just want to this article itself, right? Let me, I don't know what this article was all about, frankly speaking. Apart from basically exposing the entire deal flow of the VC.
Some of the leading VC funds.
Leading, both non-leading, whatever deal flow of the entire ecosystem. I can say that simply because I have seen a few of them, so there is some validation that this is the deal flow of some of the largest VCs, including some smaller ones also, which is strange. And how did that happen? I think I'm just curious. What this looks like some. Somewhere, the reporter didn't do any analysis. He just took a bunch of WhatsApp messages from somewhere and put this together and called it an article. I'm not being charitable. Okay. But that's what it feels like, I mean, what does this mean? What does it change? I don't know. In a way that, I think that's how I see the article as per se. But the article is bang on in terms of, telling what's the reality of the current market.
Yeah. No, I think, like you said, this is something that we are uh, experiencing pretty much every day. Right? We have the, I don't know, misfortune or the good fortune of, some of the deals that we are looking at, are also being looked at by some large VC funds who typically do Series A, right? But making exceptions and looking at the stage of seed or pre-seed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Bhargavi, to your question about reverse pitching, right? I think that in and of itself, I am actually quite happy about that. Right? I think it's indicative of the maturity of our ecosystem, so to speak, right? And that's how it should be, right? I think in most cases, even in Silicon Valley, right, you have people chasing very good deals, right? That's what happened with Clubhouse also, where they had investors lining up and pitching to the founders why they should take their money. And I think that's a great development, right? But where I think it's a little difficult to digest is when founders grandstand, which we have experienced recently, right? I think I would still prefer if the founder is upfront and transparent rather than grandstanding. Especially when you're engaging in the first few conversations, right? When you don't know the person. So yeah, it's a good overall development for the ecosystem, is what I would say.
Good.
It kind of also put us on notice, right? I mean, we have to get our game right as well. It's like put the money where your mouth is, kind of a thing. We say we add value, and in fact, we encourage founders also, right, to ask these questions. When you're going to any fund or any investor and raising money from them, you should definitely ask these questions. I mean, I would advise my portfolio companies to specifically ask these questions, right? And how the fund is going to add value to them.
Especially in this market. What's wrong?
Yeah, exactly. You got nothing to lose.
Yeah. We get pre-reads before the call, and we get post-reads after the call. We need to share Notion documents with contacts that we will make.
Yeah, I think like truly, right, this is a founder's dream. If you ask,
Market.
yeah, founders market, and especially for maybe smaller funds like us, it's a lot more effort. And I think many of them will think VC is like writing checks. Just a founder comes and you're just writing checks. And now it's come to a point of literally saying why should you take my check, right? You are doing the reverse pitch every time almost. And every conversation that we do a pitch, right? Today they ask you, what are you doing? What's your value add? That's like lots of maturity in the ecosystem, which is great to see, and it's also tempting at the same time, right? People with a longer staying power will survive, and the short-term ones will anyway go out in the VC space also, simply because of this phenomena, right? It's not like if you have money, you're going to become something, So that is also going to happen. Some of them will get weeded out. Looks like, at least in some sense. But let's see how that plays out. But
it's actually very telling, how far we've come, right? We were just discussing this with Pankaj of 500 Startups yesterday on Clubhouse, right? And he was sort of reminding us that in 2007, 2008, angel networks were demanding 50%, 60% ownership in companies, investing $100,000, right? It's a complete flip. Take that, and now you have founders asking investors, why should I take you in for the ride? I think it's just amazing, when you look at from that point of view.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it was turning around for some time, and now it's completely turned. Right. So all of them will have to really figure out, what's the real value. I just saw a tweet, just before this call, right? Somebody is asking, which is the most value add we see in India. I mean, I'm not mentioning others, but that was a question. Absolutely, who is the most value add we see in India? Who has built a team which adds value? I mean, I can mention the name because the reply just came out, from a third person saying, Bloom. example. I'm just saying. So I think it is very, very clear. Long-term sustainability is like you build A16Z kind of support systems, right? That's the only way it's kind of going to hold up for in the long term. Looks like, unless you're just capital, which is harder and getting harder and harder. I think so. I think in that light, right? I want to ask Bhargavi. Maybe we should just talk about a few things about what we've been doing for our founders, right? We should talk about few things. I know maybe I'll leave it to you to talk. Maybe Bean House is one of them. I think you should talk about a little about that. What we've done over the last 1 year on that, and what else have we kind of done? Obviously, we've tried to even get vaccines for a few of them. That I think a lot of venture firms have done, for the portfolio companies.
Yeah, so Bean House apart, like we can definitely touch that, but I think being an angel fund is a blessing in disguise, right? Because you get so many people who are invested into the companies, because not only they invest in the companies, but also even in the companies they don't invest, they are always there whenever you reach out, whenever you need somebody, right? So I think I have personally connected people who are potential mentors, especially in marketing, product management, hiring, to some of the portfolio founders. And apart from that, I think another thing which we actively do is helping in leads, right? Wherever we can, in customer development, wherever they need a pipeline, and where we think. I think that's another thing which we have been actively doing to our companies. Now coming to Bean House sessions, I think we have been holding one session a month at the least, right? And we have now covered topics like starting from how do you build your own personal brand, going to ESOPs, marketing, sales, growth hacking. So some of the topics that we have covered. So I think this is just some of the things which coming top of the mind, right? But I think one thing which I'm quite happy about ourselves is we have been consistent in that, right? Let's say, be it formal engagement in terms of Bean House, or interacting with the portfolio companies on a regular basis, maybe once a month or once in 45 days, or sometimes once in 15 days. I think we have been very consistently doing that, and I think the latest is now that some of our portfolio companies are ready for a fundraise. I think we are working more with them, doubling down, and even helping them put together their metrics and story. So yeah.
Awesome. That's great. I think that's some value add start. That's looking good. So what? Yeah. Karthik,
go ahead, Vinod.
No, I was just thinking, what else has been brewing in the ecosystem, right? Like I saw one interesting news. SoftBank wants to come back and deploy in
Flipkart.
Does it sound like buyer's remorse on a different side, right?
Never, yeah.
And then you want to come back and buy at a 10 million higher valuation, literally, right? So that's like not hurt. That's an interesting conversation to look to. And they've announced they want to deploy $4 billion in India. And I hope some dollars flow to some of our companies also. And that's interesting news to see in the morning. And if there is another angle that's I'm starting to see, Karthik, is in terms of angel investors also, right? And there is sudden spurt of everybody wanting to invest. In some sense, I'm starting to think the public market boom is kind of spilling over into the private market, more the private after the immediate aftermath of the pandemic. And we've seen a couple of fund closures also happening, right? We've seen Artha second close, Pi announcing a second fund that's already on the roads, and that's happening, right? Specially also is done a first close, so we've seen that news, right? So I think VC is just moving away from being very, very agnostic horizontal to also being sector focused. That's also a trend, which will get like sealed a lot more, right? Like Bhargavi was mentioning in our conversation, there's a protein fund, right? I think you'll start seeing that, like a very, very focused niche funds. Yeah.
For sure, Vinod. Vinod, I think speaking of value add, right, which we were discussing earlier, I think I'll be remiss if we didn't mention, how some of our own investors, right, have been adding value to our founders. Because of the model that we have, we have access to some of the best executives, some of the best people who have done it right in the past and who have a lot of experience. So these guys, tend to interact with our founders, or can provide us feedback, which we can provide in turn to our founders as well. Speaking of which, a lot of these investors, who have been very active with our portfolio company, right? They've actually started exploring this by through our angel investor course. That's how a lot of these guys have come to us, and this is interesting sort of a funnel for us to get these people to sort of not only explore angel investing. A lot of these guys have turned into angel investors with us, and some of them have been helping our portfolio companies as well, in various aspects. So speaking of our angel course, right? So we are about like 1 week away from our next batch.
Next Saturday.
Yeah. So I think this is a nice, segue to sort of put that plug in here, right? So if you guys are exploring investing in startups and you don't know where to start, right, you should definitely check this out. We do an 8-week, an 8-day, 4-week course over 4 weekends, Saturday, Sunday. It usually lasts for about 75 minutes. Sometimes it may run up to 90 minutes, depending on the questions. We are selecting very few people to be part of this cohort. You think we have, how many slots are left, Bhargavi? Maybe 5 slots?
4 to 5 slots, yeah.
4 to 5 slots are still left, so go ahead and grab them. We'll be starting next Saturday at 11 a.m. The interesting thing about that is you're learning in a cohort, right? So it's like you have a nice camaraderie with a lot of other people who are joining the course, and all of these guys, either they are former entrepreneurs or they have been senior executives in some of the well-known companies, and they're just exploring investing in startups. Right? So it's also a great networking opportunity, in addition to learning about angel investing. We've trained about 105 angel investors since we began last year, somewhere around May, June of last year. Of which 25 have turned into angel investors with us, and I think close to 40 have started investing in startups after our course. So that's a really big number. It's almost like 40% of the people who join our courses do end up investing in startups.
Yeah, that's great. Yes. Can't wait for the next batch. Just 1 week to go now.
Yeah.
And I think we are doing it after a long break now, 3-month break.
Yeah,
you're right. I think the last batch was in February, so I think it's almost 4 months, 3 to 4 months.
Yeah.
You're right. So yeah, couldn't wait. All right. Anything else, Vinod, Bhargavi?
I'm waiting for Bhargavi. Yeah, Bhargavi, go on.
Oh my God. See, this is how you put somebody else.
Let me ask you, Bhargavi, on your vaccination status. I know you've gotten the first shot, right? How was that? How did you feel after the shot?
Just like how other people feel, I didn't get any fever or anything, thankfully. Just body ache and all that. I think this is like making me work more because I didn't attend the clubhouse session yesterday.
Oh, by the way, that was a great clubhouse session. I wish we could record it. Can we record clubhouse sessions?
You can record, Karthik, with permission. Yeah, you can record. Announce that it's recording, but I don't know if it's recordable on the Clubhouse app itself. But I've noticed some sessions, where it can be. But I think I'll tell you another interesting thing. Since you brought Clubhouse, Karthik, that's a topic, right? Again, making observations between Twitter Spaces and Clubhouse, right? Last week, I think me and you were on Twitter Spaces for some time in the afternoon, testing it out, and we also did a scheduled session, where Bhargavi joined us. And after that, she refused to join us on Clubhouse. Right after that, what's happening is, right. You are getting a much wider audience that's coming in, and Clubhouse also is getting newer audiences. That is very different from the audiences that I had seen, in the early phase of the Clubhouse, right. And so that's significantly, you can see the difference, observable difference. And Twitter, I think, again, from a distribution point of view, right, looks very, very well said. Good question, right? Like, it's Clubhouse valued now. If Twitter also is doing the same, right? It's the same audience now. And there've been a bunch of articles, going around, where Malayalis have, kind of literally taken over, the Clubhouse. Yeah, absolutely, right. So there's regional, especially South, right? There's like a massive influx, especially coming from Kerala. There's a lot of antaksharis, singing of songs, and you have chai kadas, God knows, the pandemic also is, right. Nobody's going out, lockout too, and the timing of the Android app, right, has really mattered. And there have been 2.5 million installs, I've heard, of Clubhouse, and 1 million is from India on Android.
Wow.
So Indians are really very good early adopters, right? I think because we are generally a very smart crowd, maybe that's helping.
I think Indians like to talk, like just all three of us are doing it here, right? Just they want to talk and show, right? The argumentative Indian is real. And the argumentative Indian is exactly the one who's on the Clubhouse, and he just wants to talk, in a way. So
I know. I follow Insta, right? And I can see now, like, so many Insta influencers, Bollywood, Hollywood, whatever, Kollywood, everywhere people are like, oh, I'm doing Twitter Spaces today evening. Come, I'm doing. I think it is going to become good for Twitter, because people who were on Insta but didn't know about Twitter is also now going to Twitter. Sort of. So I think it's all good for Twitter.
Bhargavi, don't be surprised if Insta itself releases a similar voice-based feature now.
They should. It doesn't make sense to give so much traffic to Twitter. They should do, because Insta already has everything, right? You have Reels in Insta where you take short videos, right? It's a huge success. I follow influencers because that. I can't reveal my secrets on why I do that, but I do follow a lot of influencers, and I see Reels is a very big hit, actually. So I think it doesn't make sense to give off so much. So Insta should do Spaces. I don't think it's going to take long for them to do this.
I think the bigger question is, how do they end up monetizing this?
Why?
What do you mean why? They have to somehow make money out of this, right? Otherwise, it's a service that nobody is paying for.
I know. What did TikTok do? Good question.
Well, I think TikTok is. Look, I think the question always ends in advertising, right? That seems like the most viable sort of a solution for this kind of thing. But initially when Instagram was there, right? It has a huge user base, but it's the same problem. Like, how are they going to monetize it? But they have actually really come up with some innovative ways of doing that, by doing Insta shopping, etc., and so on and so forth, right? It'll be interesting to see how Clubhouse will think about monetizing it.
I think the best thing for Clubhouse is getting acquired by somebody, maybe Facebook, and it just becomes a feature.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a good way for Insta to have this.
Yeah. So coming back, Karthik, the larger question, right? I was thinking on Clubhouse is Twitter Spaces, right? Also, if you notice, Twitter has launched a subscription service today called Twitter Blue. Basically, that allows you to undo a tweet. It allows you to create bookmarks undo for within 30 seconds. By the way, so
bookmarks, dude. Bookmarks is like really, really.
So they're going to create a folder structure.
Important.
Yeah, you can create a folder structure now. That's something they're allowing. These are some of the features. So it's going premium. Probably in India when they launch, they should not ask us more than 50 rupees, right? In US it's at $3-4 or something like that. So
interesting. So I use an app called Readwise, to bookmark my.
By the way, they are introducing a thread reader also inside Twitter. It's called Reader.
Okay.
So basically, Threadwise, and all these other guys who had built their
Anyway, they taught Twitter how to monetize Twitter, I guess.
Yeah. But I think the crazy thing is undo, and that monetizing that as revenue is crazy. That's like absolute. And I was thinking, if Clubhouse is $4 billion, right, valuation, what happens now, man? If Twitter is going, and is Clubhouse going to get its values worth now? This is the question I've been grappling with. So by adding Twitter Spaces, as Twitter added $4 billion valuation to itself, will you invest in Clubhouse? If you get a chance now at $4 billion, will it be $100 billion company? So these are like some questions that's kind of going on, at least in my head sometimes when I think about it. I don't have answers fully, but those are some questions. What might happen, especially from a competition point of view between the two.
Look, I think it depends on the milestone, right? How do you define that milestone where the inflection for valuation is going to occur for Clubhouse? People have already started asking questions. It's like, what next, right? With Clubhouse. So I think it becomes important what those milestones are going to be, and how soon or how long they will take to achieve those. And then there've been articles, I don't know how accurate they are, but they've all have been saying the activity on Clubhouse has been going down significantly. Just before the launch of Android app.
So that's what, Karthik, India is. They call us a DAU farm, right? For some reason. Yeah.
You're right. I think even with Disney plus Hotstar, right? That's what we're seeing. Right? There's a lot of users, but they're not worth that much. And you take out IPL from Disney plus Hotstar, it's basically very difficult to monetize this. So it's still early days for us here.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's interesting. See what goes on from there. Yeah, cool. That's about it. I think I had what is AMC to the moon. This is this reminds me, right? Somebody told me there is an MCOP. I was wondering what's an MCOP.
What is an MCOP?
Companies you can incorporate in moon.
Okay.
That's like C Corp, right? Yeah. So Stripe M Corp, Stripe Atlas M Corp. If you want to invest or something, that was a thing. I don't know what he's implying. AMC to the moon. Not sure. Anyway. anything else that's been catching your attention in the last couple of weeks? Are we going to do a deal in this month, by the way?
Look, I
Are
think
we going to do a deal, Vinod, this month?
it depends on your grace.
we are actively pitching to companies. So if you are a founder who wants to be pitched to, please reach out to us.
Bhargavi, I think most VCs will not admit, right? We are the only ones that are saying, like, boss, please, we are ready to pitch to founders. We,
That's what sets us apart, right? That is why we are getting allocation in deals where founders are saying, "Oh my God, you are the VC next door. I don't find many VCs like you, so here, take the allocation." So I think that's what sets us apart, and I'm very proud of it.
Absolutely. I think somebody told we are authentic, exactly for this reason, right? So founders listening in, feel free to call us for a pitch. We are happy to pitch and tell, how much money we can give, apart from that, what value we can add, how we can help you. And if you like our pitch, right, please, accommodate us on your cap table. We'll be privileged to be a part of your company and growth. And this is sincere in earnestness. I know Bhargavi is laughing, but this I am telling you in all sincereness and earnestness. The reason also, right, I'm telling you, I don't know, by sheer coincidence, right? One of our interns working on our upcoming newsletter, right, is put a quote. Maybe I don't know if Bhargavi put this quote or the intern put this quote. And it says, venture investing used to be about picking, and now it's about getting picked.
Oh no, I didn't put.
So, I mean, it can't be any truer than that. So I'm going to send it to Karthik now, right? So contextual for the current discussion, and he just put it. I was just like, surprised. He also knows, what's happening in the ecosystem. So, and that's the. I think the feeling session has been all about that. Founders are picking investors. No more investors picking founders. At least at our stage, yeah. And however, at Java Capital, right, we are trying to get picked and also pick at the same time. Hopefully, we'll be more successful, trying to do that. Yeah, there are a lot of questions also to answer for us also, but it's an interesting time to, be there. Yeah. Awesome.
I think one more thing that really, I don't know, it's ego boost, if you will, right? Is one of our portfolio founders has sent me a message with a list of VCs, okay, which also includes us. So I shared this with you guys, but people who are listening, right?
Yeah.
And he said, you guys are doing well enough to be on the list. With the 2 partners.
No, you need to give a background because people will wonder why portfolio founder is sending a list of VC with our name. So the background is somebody, I think his friend or somebody, right, is looking to raise capital. And
so
go on, Karthik.
I asked him, what is this list? It's good that we're amongst we're in good company on this list. But I kind of asked him, what is this list? And then he said, apparently it's a list made by somebody he knows from his college. And these are the list of the companies that he wants to intern at before he applies for his MBA. So that's the ego boost thing for us this week. Things like this, will keep us going. Keep them coming, guys. I really appreciate it.
Karthik, since you bought that, right, that's so much of self praise has gone into this episode, which is naturally happening.
Yeah, this happened.
Good, you didn't use that word here. Otherwise, everybody would have gone and checked the dictionary like I did.
So I had another incident, right? So I was talking to a fellow VC. And looks like he pinged me back, or I had not been in touch for almost a year or something, and he pinged me and I said, I want to talk to you. I said, yeah, great, let's talk, why not? And he said, 2-3 founders mentioned our names to them, in the conversation, or in the conversation saying they may fund us, kind of stories. So that kind of surprised me, right? Because the founders only don't tell us, but they go and tell another VC, right? That's like interesting. And
Yeah,
and another and another interesting conversation also, right? Well-known fund. I was talking to the partner there, and the initial thing that he said, I've been hearing about you, from multiple sources and multiple people you, and that's why I want to get in touch and see how we can take it forward. I don't know what all this indicates. Is this the world conspiring, for Java Capital? I don't know. I want to take it very positively, but also, right? It may be, it indicates, people are starting to recognize the name and the association.
It's obviously an ego boost, right? But beyond that, I think this is also a feedback loop, right? In a way,
Exactly.
It's very difficult to get this sort of feedback. If you ask for it, right? You don't know how relevant or authentic that can be, right? But when you hear from third-party sources like this, unsolicited, it's kind of validates at some level what we are doing, right? Which is kind of interesting. So but we also get like all kinds of feedback from our founders, right? From even in some of the Java Bean house, that we have set up. We openly solicit feedback from them, and they are also openly sharing whether it's useful or not, and what they would like to see more from us, and so on and so forth. So this is. For us, I keep yelling about it, and you guys keep doing that all the time as well. I think transparency is one of the pillars for us. I think it just goes to that.
Yeah, I think Bhargavi initially mentioned about some long conversations, long email. I think what the world is perceiving is what you kind of stand for, right? So I think that's what's kind of starting slowly.
Perception is reality.
Perception is reality. It's slowly starting to reflect, and maybe it's time for us to capitalize on that, and use that to tell the bureaucrats in Bombay, please do help us to get going faster.
I think
we are watching you.
Good. I think time for us to wrap up. I think we've already spoken enough.
I wonder, right, how many people can even decode some of our conversations? But one founder actually did, right? He went and he's listened to a lot of stuff that we put up on Freewheeling, and he wrote an email, picking up points from what we actually spoken. He's gone and seen my recent podcast, and he's like asked, a lot of pointed questions on what I said on the podcast. Very, very interesting that way. It felt interesting, at least. Yeah. So kudos. I would want to invest in such founders, hopefully, in the future. Yeah.
Okay. Great. On that note.
Okay. See you, everybody. If this episode is not of your flavor, just scroll it very fast. But do write to us, whether you are a founder or investor or a wannabe investor, wannabe founder. Reach us at hello@javacapital.co.
Yeah, we want some more audience, folks. Encourage us. We want to see more people listening to this show. This is like insider thing about VC, man. Every week, if you really want to understand what's happening, you should listen. And I think we are not doing a great job yet. Hopefully we should be able to push this out.
Yeah, and please share topics with us, right? Even if you don't fall under any of the buckets I said, investor, founder, or wannabes, but still you can share topics that you would listen to. And I promise we will do our homework and we will come and try to address the topic to our best abilities.
Yeah, I'm hoping next week, right, we can bring the rocket ship founder. I'm just still hoping, but I'm going to try again next week to bring the rocket ship founder. And look forward to see you all next week and get vaccinated. Bangalore is getting vaccinated. We are the leading city in terms of vaccination, thanks to the private tech companies, who are like voluntarily giving vaccines to not just to the employees, to their friends, family. Bangalore is proud because it's not just the government that is doing. I think all the tech companies, IT companies, everybody is like jumping in. So we are 30% done. I saw today's numbers, right, Karthik, just to make people get vaccinated. We are hitting very likely 35-40 lakhs of vaccination doses today.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's steadily going up.
Yeah, it's going up, and Bangalore will be at like 50% very shortly. So hopefully, the third wave may not touch the Silicon City. Hopefully.
Yeah, I think that's the hope. That's the hope. All right. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us. We will see you again next week.
Bye-bye. See you. Have a good weekend.